All right, a little more information about that story yesterday during the Ohio primary, in which a vaguely described poll worker pulled a gun on another poll worker. Well, we have some information, and looks like it was black on white. And, I'm going to call it out as such. I don't do the media thing and trying to play that down. Just like yesterday, I talked about how the cop was shot in Fort Worth by a white man. I pointed that out. We got to be fair. But here, let's talk about what happened. Essentially, here's a picture of the guy. You can see it up there. A poll worker was arrested after threatening other workers while holding a gun at a Cleveland polling place around noon yesterday. Tuesday, it was March 15th. The statement by the Cleveland Metropolitan Schools said, "We were assured by the Board of Elections and safety officials that the incident posed no danger to occupants at our school. Polling locations at schools are separate and cordoned off from areas occupied by staff and students on election day." And there is a question asking if the applicant is a felon. Now, why do I have to go to Think Progress, by the way, a leftist paper, to get the story here? But here's what it says. I have no reason to doubt it. The Board of according to Tanya Gallardo, who is white, she was the presiding election judge at Louisa May Alcott School's polling place. It's just so funny given the kind of literature that Louisa May Alcott wrote that this happened there. I guess someone who was really into peace like Gandhi, I guess it might have been even more funny. But anyhow, the Board of Elections really needs to do their background on these people. She said hours after she was threatened by a gun by a fellow poll worker. I still don't have his name, but does it really matter? She had about 50 voters casting ballots when poll worker Alan Bethea threatened to kill her. That's a little different from the story we heard before, and showed at least one firearm to another poll worker. He was eventually arrested for, among other things, having a weapon under disability. The charge likely means Bethea had some sort of criminal record that prevented him from owning guns. Ohio weapons under disability law forbid people from owning guns if they've been convicted of a violent crime, if they've been indicted, if they're a chronic drug user or alcoholic, or if a judge has deemed them mentally ill. And, we can debate some of that stuff, especially the mentally ill stuff, because that's part of the agenda. But I don't know if it's that relevant here, because clearly the guy shouldn't have been shouldn't have a gun and shouldn't be pulling on people in a polling place, regardless of whether they're using this to disarm veterans. Continuing on with the Think Progress article, whatever the case, Gallardo wonders why Bethea was allowed to become a poll worker at an elementary school, no less, if he fell into one of those categories. They need to get responsible people, especially when you're in churches and schools and kids are involved, she said, noting that kids were in the polling place where the incident occurred. What if he would have opened fire with that gun and hit one of those babies? Do you know how that would have devastated us? My mind would have never been right. Apparently there are no requirements for background checks on poll workers. A lot of these people, by the way, are making like $9 an hour for 1 or 2 days. The idea once was floated in Madison. Okay, here's the story of what actually happened. According to Gallardo. I don't know. I don't know if she is Latin or if it's pronounced the English way. Around noon, Bethea got into an argument with Gallardo and other poll workers over his handling of a disabled voter. The disabled voter was looking to cast a ballot in the presidential primary election. Bethea told the voter to go to a green table, but there was no green table to be found. At that point, a female poll worker told Bethea to get up and help the voter. Instead of helping, however, Bethea began to yell at the female poll worker. Oh, it sounds like the guy's got a real great work ethic. Donald Trump would love him. That's when Gallardo jumped in. Me being the precinct judge, I got up and said, "There's like 50 people in here voting. I can't have this." She said, I said, "Excuse me, you have to calm down." He goes, "You need to shut the F up. B," and B would refer to a word that is often associated with Hillary Clinton. Gallardo recalled, he says, "B," the word associated with Hillary Clinton. "Who the hell are you think you are?" Gallardo said she went back across the room, called the Board of Elections, and asked to have Bethea removed. In response, Bethea opened his backpack and showed his gun to the female poll worker sitting next to him. He showed her the gun in the bag and pointed his finger at Gallardo. "I could hear her from all the way over here." He said, "She's going to die tonight. She's going to die." Gallardo said he went and opened his back and showed the girl next to him, "Look what I've got for her." Gallardo called the cops. Before they got there, Bethea left, but the police eventually tracked him down and arrested him. In a statement, the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections confirmed they had terminated Bethea. Still, Gallardo said this wasn't the first time she has interacted with an unstable poll worker. A few years ago, she said a poll worker at the local church pulled out a long knife and began threatening people. It was in the newspaper, she said. They took him to jail that day. Now, Gallardo said she was lucky no one got hurt the first 2 times and doesn't want to take a chance with a third. She's been working every election since she was 18 years old, she said, but now her kids are asking her to stop. If the Board of Elections doesn't change something, she said, she just might. Why in the world would they let them come to a school with children and work the election, she said. They really cannot just hire anyone because they need people to work. All right, there you go. And I will point out that Al Sharpton and Barack Obama have not made any comments about this yet. Maybe Melissa Harris Perry will do a segment about the terrible racism. Nope, she doesn't have a show on MSNBC anymore.